Good morning. So we are doing today the Uddhav Gita. This is chapter 15 and we'll be starting a new verse 13. Uddhav Gita is the last message of Sri Krishna to Uddhava, in which Sri Krishna is describing now the reason for every human being's existence. So what is it that we need to do in our material world so that you get an idea why you are born on this planet Earth? This question has been raised literally many times. What is the use of my being born on this earth? Why am I born? Okay. I want to know my true calling. These are certain questions which every human being has asked. So, in some ways, Krishna is answering those questions. So, let us see what he says. So, we are doing chapter 15 from the Uddhav Gita, verse 13. The wise man should seek neither heaven nor hell, nor desire to return to this world, for he comes under delusions through attachment to the body. The wise man. First, we have to understand the wise man. A wise man is a person who knows why he is over here. So, yes, the reason why you are over here is not because you have to enjoy in this material world, but there is an ulterior reason. Why? If you go to watch a movie in a theater, there are things which you do which are pleasurable along the way. In the interval, don't you go and buy for yourself popcorn or ice cream or something like that? And then you're eating it and watching the movie. Life is like that. Life is like this movie. You have to take out the meaning of the film. Why are you sitting there? Why are you born on this planet Earth? Not for that popcorn, see? Not for that popcorn or the ice cream or whatever else that you are going to eat. That is a pleasure along the way. While you are going through the movie, you love to eat those things because it's a part and parcel of enjoyment. But that is not the criteria. The criteria is you have come to watch the film. You see it on the big screen. Everything of yours is lost then. You are not aware that your wife and your kids may be sitting next to you. You don't even know there is an audience next to you. You are sitting in that dark chamber and watching that film going on, and you are lost in that characters. There are so many characters there. And you identify yourself more on the lines of the main characters. It could be anybody. So you identify yourself as, oh, I am the hero, I am the heroine. And you can feel their pain if they go through the pain. You can feel the pleasure that they go through their, the screen time. You have lost your identity there. When you are born on this planet Earth, you are lost in the snacks. You are lost in enjoying yourself with the people around because you have not shut the world around you. Can you understand this? There is a whole load of people around you. Your wife, your children, your family members, your friends, your relatives. Remember, that was a movie. This is real life. We have got so involved with these people around us. We are bothered looking at our children. Oh, did you get the popcorn? Which one do you want? See? So this is what we do. We get involved in every other person. Your parents are sitting there in your life and you are bothered about them. You're not bothered about yourself. Why are you here? Are you here to watch them or to watch the main movie of your life? You are there so that you can be a part of this great movie that you are in. You are the hero or the heroine of the film. And what is the main reason for this hero or heroine? Is because you have an entire script and you have to go as per the script. You are not the director. The script of life is written already. You can't tell the director, the big boss upstairs, Krishna himself, you can't tell Krishna, I will do what I feel like. No. You have to follow exactly what the script is. Very tight script. And don't get bothered by the people sitting next to you. They are your parents, they are your relatives, your wife, your children, your husband, whoever it might be. You are involved in their character? Sorry, you should be involved in your character. Empower yourself. You are here for a very short time, the 3 hours or 2 hours that you spend in the movie hall. You are here only for that 60 years or 70 years of your life. And you are the hero. The hero has come to save himself, not somebody else. We have two very beautiful epics called the Mahabharata and the Ramayana. Shri Ram, who was the greatest person that been on this earth, he was absolutely perfect in his ways. He understood his character well. When he had to leave his wife in the jungle, he did that. You go through your emotions, not that you don't go through it, but what was the reason of your existence? You should never forget why you are there. You are here so that you can do something. Empowering yourself is the most important thing. If you have come over here for just wishy-washy reason, so that you can be help to somebody else when you yourself are the most useless person on earth. I mean, just imagine, you cannot handle the bow and arrow and you are trying to help another person. So here he says, the wise should seek neither heaven nor hell. You are here so that you are not here, so that the reason why you are not here is, I want to reach heaven, I want to reach hell. No. That is a secondary issue. It has nothing to do with your life. I want to reach the heavens. We have learnt in last so many chapters that there are demigods. They are not gods. They are creations of Maya. They are illusions, illusory creatures. You are also a demigod. You have certain jobs to do. They are demigods. Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh, they are demigods. They have to perform their job perfectly. Imagine tomorrow Brahmaji says, I will take 1 day off because of pandemic. Pandemic in my heaven, so I am taking 1 day off. This world will come to an end. Similarly, Shiva can't take off. And here you want to take off every second day of your life. They have to be performing their duty. You are also that demigod yourself. Because you are under the spell of Maya. What makes you think that you are not capable? You have been given every capability. Every capability has been given to you. Otherwise, you think you are just put in this world just for the heck of it? No. Every capability has been given to you so that you can be the best. And don't aim for heavens. Because heaven is only meant for those gods. It is their house. Okay? Indra has his own heaven. I mean, just imagine this. There is a heaven where there are beautiful women dancing around and pouring music, playing music, and then there is wine, this, that, all enjoyment. I mean, can you imagine heaven as enjoyment and hell as the worst place on, in life? It is not a done thing. These are illusions created by Maya. Maya creates illusions of heaven and hell. If I don't believe in it and I believe in myself, am I not empowering myself to become that divinity? God lives in everybody. Please understand this. God lives in everything and everybody. How many of you feel like a god? You feel like a vermin, a worm. I can't do this. This is not possible. I am like a pig. I'm just rolling around. You consider yourself as the worst creature on earth and I can't do anything. There is neither heaven nor hell for an enlightened being. So why not get to enlightenment? Know yourself. If you are going to be lost in this body of yours, you are going to have, along with the body, a lot of relatives with it, a lot of stuff with it. If you consider yourself this body, okay, this body is born here. How many relatives do you have? A ton of them. Right from your parents to your grandparents, your great-grandparents, and I want you to imagine the number of people involved in your stupid birth. Whereas you are coming every now and then because there are rebirths, isn't it? So how many grandparents did you have? How many great-grandfathers you had? Great-grandmothers? So in every life you will have those. Now tell me, if you are the one who started when Adam started, remember, we are just taking Adam as a case, okay? When Adam started, what were you at that time? One of his million children? So Adam became your father. See, if I go backward, my forefather is Manu then. And Manu was created by Brahmaji, and Brahmaji was created by Vishnu, Mahavishnu, and Mahavishnu was created by the Supreme Divine Consciousness. So my great forefather is Supreme Divine Consciousness. Common sense will tell you you came from the same tree. Okay, so past life regression therapist, what do you want to be in your past life? Oh, I want to become Mahatma Gandhi. Of course, you can be whatever you feel like. You want to become George, George Clooney's grandfather also doesn't matter. Or George Washington. You can be whatever you feel like. You want to fight wars? How many wars you want to fight? Because if you go backward, you must have been in some war, no? You might have been born as a Chinese general for all you know. You might be Genghis Khan. Who knows? Or Mongolian. Or you might be even Buddha's, great-grandfather for all you know. It doesn't matter. If you go this way, this is past regression. Adam was my great to the power of n grandfather. Common sense will tell you this. Common sense, absolutely zero common sense is required if you have to do this kind of thing. If that little 0.00001% common sense will tell you your forefather was Adam. So you must have been Adam's son or somebody, or you could be Adam yourself. So you have that essence of godliness in you because you have come from the same tree. Why are you not empowering yourself? Why do you want some heaven or hell? For those who think about hell, who made hell? Some angel who did not listen to God. He said, you go to hell, come on. So it is an angel only, no? So an angel only created hell. So again, who rules the Indian hell? Okay, we are now foreign hell and Indian hell. Indian hell, one of the hells is ruled by Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj was a great king and he was a devotee of the Lord. So then hell is not a bad place. So this hell and heaven and all these kind of things is only for rebirths. Only for rebirths. That means you go and stand in the queue. You know how you do in Disney World or Disneyland, you know. Right? You love a ride. You go, you stand in the queue, go for the ride, come back again, stand again. Go for the ride again, come back again, stand again. And the whole day will go. So it's like that. How many rides do you want? There may be 50 rides over there. You can land up with only 4 or 5. It's like that, painful journey. And yes, for 4 or 5 rides, they charge you for the entire rides. Isn't that funny? So these 4 or 5 rides of yours as a human being, just now you are a human being, you are also paying for the tiger that you were. Maybe you have become a cockroach. Maybe you had become a tree. Who knows? Somebody asked me a question. If you have become a mountain, how can you come back again to life? Okay. If you are a mountain, you have not come back to life. You see, a human being, a human body also dies, isn't it? Okay. The body remains. I can preserve the body for 5,000 years also. Recently, they found some 20 bodies. Okay. They call them mummies, not bodies. They found 20 mummies and all of them, some of them rather, were wearing clothes. And what clothes were they? Linen. And the linen is perfect, intact. If linen from 5,000 years ago can be intact, what makes you think the body cannot be intact? Likewise, if you are born as a mountain, the mountain, only the body will remain. If you are a mountain, then one day you will be dead in the mountain and you will be gone. The mountain, only the dead body will remain. Got it? So there are some mountains which are dead mountains, isn't it? There are some trees which are dead trees. They become logs. So you can be a mountain, you can be a tree, you can be a planet. There are dead planets. Who says there are not dead planets? You have to understand this logic. This is logical. I am a dead planet. I left that body. It's called a heavenly body. So like that. So did you get it? There is a reason for your existence. So the reason for your existence is go towards knowing yourself. So when you know yourself, you are not going to aim for your heaven or hell. If you want, you can create your own heaven. You become an architect of the next heaven if you want. But you become that God first. Right? So you can have my own heaven. You can name one nice board outside. And you can have all your cronies standing outside. Yes, boss. I mean, your gun's not allowed there. So, did you get the point? You can make your own heaven, and if you really love and if you want to be the devil incarnate, you can be the devil yourself. Who cares? So, there is neither heaven nor hell. If you want it, it is going to be there. No desire to return to this world, and don't bother about coming back to this world, because next life, if you really are interested in your next life, then I am going to give you a life of a cockroach. Would you love that? Or maybe like a virus, corona, and don't corona. It really doesn't make a sense to anybody. So why would you want to come back as some other vermin? Not necessary that you're going to become human. You may be be born in the Serengeti, in the wild. And yes, some wolves will be after you. Would you like that? I don't think so. Or you want to be a krill or something like that? Don't ask me what is a krill. It's full of proteins. So this is the idea. You don't have to be reborn. Cut off that. Slice that thing through. And then, for it comes under delusion through attachment to the body. Don't get attached to this body of yours. Because this body will go, tomorrow you may be a centipede. Would you love to be attached to that centipede body of yours? My 24th leg is hurting, I have to go to the doctor. And imagine all those 50 legs on this side, 50 legs on this side, the 24th leg is like this on top. How does that sound? Silly, isn't it? And imagine putting 100 shoes on. It's ridiculous. I'm just making a joke of it. But imagine. Or maybe a crab. Why would you want a rebirth in the first place? You will get hunted and you will get eaten also, nicely. Crab place, there are those crab places. You will get put like this up and get eaten. Why would you want that? Not necessary you will get a human life. So that is the reason why don't get attached to that body of yours. Body, relatives, friends, people, things around you, they are called desires. The moment you have a desire for anything in the world, you are going to be reborn. See, I have told just in one of the satsangs some time back, you may have a stupid desire, a silly desire. I want to see my son grow up into a very handsome dude, is my desire. And you die when he is 10 years old. You remember you have a desire to see your son grow up into a handsome dude? You have to be reborn again to see that. Because anything that escapes your mouth or your mind is called a desire. I want, I wish, I have this. I want these things. I desire these things. Any desire of yours creates a rebirth, because all desires are sanctioned. So you wanted to see your son grow up into a handsome dude? Okay, don't worry. I'll make you a lizard on his wall. You can watch him every day if you want. How are you going to tell him that he is handsome? Is that what you're going to do? He's going to shoo you away. Or maybe a mosquito. You remember the words that you use? I want to see my son. As a mosquito also you have eyes, isn't it? So you will see your son grow up. 10 years later, he is 20, 21 years old. You will be born as a mosquito going around, and he will take a fly swatter or whatever, and chip, he'll kill you. Is that okay with you? So don't ask for stupid stuff. Some people will come and ask me, Guruji, my parents are not feeling well. I want you to make them okay. Oh, my father, he has a problem. My mother, she has a problem. And a Guruji is sitting over here to cure their diseases. So the person will come and ask, okay, your father is cured, your mother is cured. Remember, it's a desire. Then what happens? The desire causes a loop in the system of karma. Maybe your father or your mother was not supposed to become okay. Now they have become okay. They will live for the next 10 years of their life. They were supposed to die. Okay? But they are now going to live for 10 years of their life. And in 10 years, if your father or your mother becomes a dacoit or some great, goon, or maybe they kill somebody or something else happens, or they become politicians, crooked politicians, or they stand for elections, or they become some, I don't know what, a terrorist for all you know. Who is responsible for this? You are the one who asked for their life. Please give them 10 years of their life. Oh my goodness. So at the end of the day, it is your problem. You asked for them to be alive. Now they have become like that. You get the responsibility. Somebody asked, I want my mother to be alive. Okay? The saint, he said, okay, fine, done. The mother was alive. She became a purely material worldly person. A person who was purely spiritual, talking about Krishna, God, this, that, became a person. What is the price of gold nowadays? You are wearing a nice sari, you are doing this, you are doing that. All those karmas come on to that person who has asked for it. Would you like that? So never do that. Everybody comes with a destiny and they have to go through their destiny. When people say, I want children, they go to the great saints, they go to Sai Babas and all these great people and they will say, please give me a son, please give me a son, please give me a son or a daughter or something like that. Okay, you are not supposed to have a daughter or a son. Now, from somewhere, magic, and the son is born. And the son turns out to be a biggest terrorist on earth. Who is responsible for that person? Your desires. Whoever has asked for it. So you will not only suffer your destiny, you will have to suffer that person's destiny, because whatever trouble that person has put you in after getting, birth, all those come on your head. Don't we blame Eve for eating that apple today? See, today, you say, if Eve was not, going to eat that apple and give it to Adam, we would have been living in the heaven. We blame them, isn't it, for it? Common sense will tell you, we blame our forefathers and our parents and everybody else. So here, your desires, you take the blame. That is the reason why if you don't want rebirths, don't have desires. And don't get attached to anybody. Your attachment to your near and dear ones is the cause of your misery. Did I say that you are going to be born as a human being next life? No. I love my mother so much, I love my father so much. I love my children so much. Okay? You love your son and your daughter or your father or your mother so much. Next life, they will be born as a camel and you will be born as an Arab. What are you going to do? Then what happens? See, the idea is there is no way of knowing who is going to be born as what. But if you have, had attachment to those and a desire to be with them, you have made hell of your life. The next life and a million more years and a million more to come. Don't get into it. So here he says, for he comes under delusion through attachment to the body. So don't get attached to the body. Body is the root cause of all your misery in this world. So don't have any desires or attachments to any human being. First you start with your body. Right. So we will move to the next verse. Chapter 15, Uddhav Gita, verse 14. Conscious of this fact, he should be alert and struggle for liberation before death comes on. knowing that the body, even though mortal, can help him to attain his goal. This is a very important verse for those who think that body is useless. The body has been given as a vehicle to reach enlightenment, to reach realization, to reach the state of the real, the truth, Brahma, to reach Paramatma, God Almighty. This body has been given as a vehicle. Conscious of this fact, he should be alert and struggle for liberation before death comes on. You are not even sure when death is going to come to you. Is that correct or wrong? Are you aware that tomorrow you will be dead or tomorrow you are going to be alive? You don't even know that. Nobody can predict the future. All those great people, I want you to think about this statement of mine. There were people in this world who thought Silicon Valley, Bangalore, this, that, we are going to grow, things are going to happen, big companies, we are going to make $1 billion, something is going to happen. One pandemic, nobody was aware of it. Suddenly, it hit you and everything came to a standstill. An entire street full of shops closed down. But the shopkeeper thought, I am going to make millions. Nothing happened. This is the way in which fate works. It can give you one tight slap and you won't even know what happened. Some people believe that they are going to be there for a very, very long time. Just imagine, you are playing a very, very important role in a serial. Okay? You are a very important character. Tomorrow you are caught with pandemic. You have COVID, coronavirus, and then you are dead. So what happens to that serial? That character will get replaced by somebody else. Isn't that true? Somebody else will become that character. How many Spider-Man have come and gone? Spider-Man. How many of them have come and gone? Too many of them. How many Jokers were there? I only remember Jack Nicholson. The rest I don't even remember. But there so many Jokers came and went. Now there is going to be a woman Thor, for all you know. She's going to be a woman Thor. I don't know. Or is it something else? I don't know. I don't care. You will get replaced. How many Supermans came and went away? Too many of them. Like that, this life of yours is worthless. Today you are there, tomorrow you are gone. So isn't it important that you put your best effort right now? Put your best foot forward right here and now. Don't wait for tomorrow. Everybody thinks that I am a very lucky guy. I'm not joking. They all look at me and say, Guruji, you are the lucky guy. So why? Because in 2001, you got a disease which the doctor said you will be dead any minute or any moment of life. Maybe 1 month is all you got. The doctor looks at me in my face and he says, you got only 1 month or maybe few months, maybe. I don't know. And I met him about 15 days or maybe a month ago. And I said, hello, Dr. Ravi, how are you? I'm still alive. The funny part about this is, so the day I came to know that I will be dead in less than 1 month's time, I knew that there is not a single day to be lost. I have to work towards my destination and goal. I was reading an article today in the morning. There is this person who does this channel, video channel. And he's a very simple human being from the looks of it. Nobody can be simple, okay? So he goes from place to place, and he eats nice food over there. In India only, he doesn't go abroad. In India, he travels a lot of places, and today he has reached 1 million subscribers. He earns a lot of money from that. He started in the year 2016, and today he has million subscribers. I think I started way back in time. Many years ago, prior to that. Today, yesterday, I was told, Guruji, one more person. I said, very good. How many subscribers? 173. Congratulations on that. Does it mean to say that if I have started way back when YouTube started, that I should be having a billion subscribers by now? If I am focused on the end result, I will be dead. Nobody can focus on the end results. Don't bother about end result. Because you may be there from 2016 till today, you have only 173 subscribers. The other person may have 1 million subscribers, and there are people who have more than 500,000. Somebody will have 6 million and somebody 10 million. Nobody can say anything on this issue. So first you should know you can be dead any minute. So why not make this life the best? Live for that particular day as if it's the last day of your life. Take a book and write down not your bucket list, okay? You will kick the bucket very soon. You understand what I mean, no? Write your bucket list of what you have to achieve, not what you want to do. Oh, I want to climb Mount Everest. I want to drink coffee luwak. Coffee luwak is made from the poop of, civet cat. Don't do that. That Jack Nicholson did. I visit Jack Nicholson, yeah. Morgan Freeman. No. What is it that you can do today? People do not value themselves a lot. We do not value the life that we have got. I have people who will come and promise me, Guruji, tomorrow I will do this. And they never do it. Because they think they are going to be alive for a very long time. How can a person guarantee how many years you're going to be there? This is one life of yours. Imagine that is the last life you have got. It's like the last race of your life. Wouldn't you want to beat the heck out of it? You want to be the number one. Isn't that what you would say? I want to be the best. We're not focused on the result. See, remember, to be the best doesn't mean that you have to focus on the result. To be the best means even if you have to do the stupidest act. Let us say you are writing a letter. Okay? If you are writing a letter, would you want to write in the doctor's handwriting? Or would you like to do it in a calligraphic way? Yes, I would love to write in the calligraphic format. This is the way you got to do it. I love the Chinese way of writing. The Chinese and the Japanese. Do you know how they actually write? I was one day in a school of calligraphy. And I was just watching them for 2 hours. I just stood over there watching this beautiful Chinese artist for 2 hours. They had a small brush kind of a thing. I don't know whether it was brush or what. I don't have much idea about how they do it. But the way in which the strokes were given, oh my goodness. It is as if they were pouring their heart in it. If you have to write, wouldn't you want to write the best words? in the most beautiful handwriting. If today was the last letter of your day, of this life of yours, wouldn't you want to write it that way? If it is the last time you're going to meet your wife, wouldn't you want to do it, meeting her and saying to her that I love you so much in the most emotional, the most perfect way? Don't consider today's day as that useless day. I will do it tomorrow. Don't say I will do it tomorrow anytime, because nobody knows when life comes to an end. And that is what he says. Conscious of this fact, he should be alert and struggle for liberation before death comes on. It's your every day that you got to work really sincerely hard. Put in efforts. And whatever that you do it in the most perfect manner. Even if you have to make a sambar out of it. I mean, why not? If you have to talk to your son or your daughter, or if you have to talk to someone, wouldn't you want that speech to be the best speech ever made? Because you will be dead after that. How do you know you're going to be alive? So today you are giving an interview or maybe talking to the press. You think you're going to do that? Tomorrow you're going to get shot. There was a great president of America. His name was JFK, John F. Kennedy. One moment he was there, next moment he was gone. Same way with the Prime Minister of India. There were two Prime Ministers like that. One of them was Mrs. Indira Gandhi. In her own backyard, she got shot. And then there was Rajiv Gandhi, her son. A bomb blew him up. Then there was his brother, Sanjay Gandhi. The plane fell from the top and he died. How do you know? Nobody can predict the future. You got to say that today is the best day of my life and put your foot forward and do what you can. In spiritual, every day of your life is a struggle for reaching liberation. Why do you think that today is not the day? In my world, I tell people I want you to be the perfect person. Get up every day in the morning at a specific hour. I don't want you to come and say, sorry Guruji, I couldn't get up today. How do you know tomorrow you will be alive to keep your word? And just because you are giving me the word, you have to be born again. And maybe the next life of yours, I will make you a bat and put you upside down. You understand? Bats are awake during the night. Or I'll make you an owl. Sitting on some tree somewhere. So don't give those examples and don't say sorry. You know today is the last day and work accordingly. Nobody could predict the future. Nobody could predict the pandemic. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Some people are saying the pandemic will be over in just 1 month's time because we will find a cure. No way. There was a chairman. There's a chairman of a company in India. By the way, that company is based in Pune and they are the largest manufacturer of vaccines in the world. Go and Google it. This gentleman had given an interview. And you know what he says? He says, I have the capacity of manufacturing 1 billion vaccines in a year. How many? 1 billion. 500 million, he says, I have to give people outside. Now, if Russia has come to him, Pfizer has come to him, and some other company, and Oxford, and all those people have come to him because remember, he's the greatest manufacturer, he's the largest manufacturer of vaccine in the world. So they all came to him and they said, we want your company to manufacture. He said, fine. I can manufacture 1 billion vaccines. No other company can do that. And then he says, 500 million I have to give to the people, those who are giving me the vaccine. But 500 million I'm going to keep for India. Now, you think 500 million is sufficient for Indians. You know what he said? You need at least 2, 3 or 4 doses of it. So how many people get covered in India? 100 million, 200 million? And there will be people who will fall sick again. So he says it is anyway going to take 4 years before the whole world can get vaccinated. 4 to 5 years. So now you be sure of what you are talking about. If the largest manufacturer of vaccine is saying this thing, doesn't that tell you something? So who is sure about life? Nobody is sure. Even the members of the parliament who went to the parliament and they were tested positive. 30 of them. They tested positive. So can you guarantee your life? When you cannot guarantee your life, don't take this risk that you will be alive tomorrow. Today is the last day of your life. What are the things that you can do in 1 day's time? And whatever things that you can do, you see, I don't want to tell you the story again and again. There was this guy, but I'll tell you a little bit. There was this guy, he went to meet some great saint or Buddha. We say Buddha. And this guy never believed in Buddha. And Buddha looks at him and says, oh, okay, what do you want? So he says, I have come to ask you, you can predict the future. Okay, fine, good. You will be dead in 24 hours. So this guy gets a shock. He says, why the hell did I go to meet Buddha? And then he walks out of there completely stunned and he says, I've got only 24 hours. I have my wife, my children and all these things, Oh my goodness, what am I going to do? So while going home, he remembers that he owes money to someone. Then he says, I have bought one hen from somebody. I have to give him. I have to do this. I have my children. I have never bought them toys. So guys, toys. I have never given a flower to my wife also. I have to buy a bunch of flowers for her. Like that, he keeps on thinking about everybody and doing whatever he can, which he has never done in his entire life. He does it in 1 day. And he goes home. His wife is surprised. His children are surprised. His neighbor is surprised. He's gone and spoken to his neighbor nicely. Otherwise, he used to call them names. That day he goes and speaks. Oh, hello neighbor. How are you? Fine. Thank you. Blah, 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 blah. Come for a cup of tea. All these things. He has never done it. And he does it out of goodness because, last day of his life, 24 hours, the clock is ticking. And then 24 hours go by. He's still alive. 26, 27, 28 hours and he says the Buddha is a liar, And the next day in the morning he goes, he's very angry with Buddha. He says to Buddha, what is this? You are a liar, you never told me the truth. Buddha looks at him and says, what? Didn't I tell you that you will be dead in 24 hours? He said, but I am still alive, isn't it? Buddha says, how many things did you achieve in those 24 hours of your life? Got it? Or no? Or you need a hard knock on your head. In this 24 hours of your life, you better do everything that you think you are not able to do. If you have to get up at 4 a.m., get up at 4 a.m. If you have to write a letter to somebody and say that I love you, please write that letter. Got it? If you have to do something which is the most beautiful thing that you ever wanted to do, maybe you wanted to present a ring to your girlfriend. What are you waiting for? For the D-Day? That day is never going to come. How do you know it's going to come? You may be dead, So don't wait for things. Start that. And those who are in spiritual, now I come to the subject. If you are in spiritual, what are you waiting for? Isn't it important that you should achieve your target of reaching liberation soon? You better consider today as the last day of your life and then understand, I have to become the perfect person in spiritual. I have been given this body, and this body is a perfect vehicle to reach that level. Even the gods, the demigods, and all the demons, the devils, the ghosts, they have not got a chance to become enlightened. They don't get a chance to meet Krishna. Krishna means Almighty God. They don't get a chance to meet the perfect, supreme divine consciousness. They don't get a chance because they don't have a human body. You have a human body, which is the best vehicle in the world. You may ask me, what is so different between them and us? Well, the amount of sadhana which you can do, gods can't do. Remember Brahmaji? Can Brahmaji take one day off? Brahmaji's job is production department. Day and night, day and night, day and night, day and night, day and night. He's supposed to only keep on producing. He is the creator, remember? So he keeps on creating. One more, another. Maybe from his mouth he's releasing galaxies. And while looking somewhere, he's creating something. Who knows? I don't know how Brahmaji works. But just imagine. Can he take out time and say, 1 minute, please, let me take time out. I want to reach liberation. No, sir, you don't have the time for liberation. You have your job to do. Sit and do their job. Vishnu also is told the same thing. Come on, do your job. Brahmaji, that is Mahesh, he's told the same thing. You got all your ganas to bother your head about, no? You better pay attention to them. No, I'm meditating. Okay, meditate on them. You are one in charge of destruction. Can he hold up and say, in one day, not today, I will not kill anybody? Can he say those words? I want you to think about it. Can Mahesh, can Shiva say, one day I don't want to kill anybody? Can he say that? Today I want to think about my liberation. Can he say these words? There are people who have to die. They are suffering very badly. There may be people who are troubling someone. There is a person, there is a creature who has been crushed under the weight of somebody. Can he stay for 124 hours and not be dead? Can Shiva say, 24 hours, this mosquito, I will keep you alive? Can he say these words? No. So the gods cannot take a holiday. Not even one day for liberation. Similarly, the demons cannot take a holiday. Similarly, the ghosts cannot take a holiday. So nobody has got the right except you. You, human being, have the right been given to you. Liberation. He says the struggle for liberation has to be done. You have to struggle. Liberation is not going to be given to you on a platter. Nobody is going to give liberation on a platter. Conscious of this fact, he should be alert and struggle for liberation before death comes on. Knowing that the body, even though mortal, can help him to attain his goal. This body is so important for you. Don't get attracted towards the material world. Don't think that this body is useless or this body has only work to do for serving some idiots around you. No, don't get attached. Don't have desires. If you have desires, you'll get lost in the desire. Okay? I want to one day go to Burj Khalifa. I want to see from top. You have to be kept alive, for so many days then. But who knows that, Burj Khalifa will be available for you? Nobody knows. Tomorrow an old man will say, I want to go to New York City and watch New York City. He was supposed to be dead in coronavirus 6 months ago. Now he's still alive. And maybe next time he will be alive. Next time he will be born. Can eagles go up there? Of course. So then he will be hovering like an eagle on top. Yes, you got to watch that. New York City from top. So don't bother about all these things. This body has been given to you to reach liberation. This is one day, ultimate day of your life. Think like that and try to attain that objective. Don't say tomorrow I will do it. Don't say day after tomorrow I will do it. Here and now, this is the place and the time. Because time doesn't stand for anybody. 24 hours in a day, they can just go tick, 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 finished. And if you have to be dead in 24 hours, just like that guy who went to meet Buddha, why are you thinking that you will be alive? If you are on your deathbed, think that this is the last day of your life. I tell some people, if you are past your 50s and 60s, why don't you write a will and give? And that means if you should have something, okay? Otherwise, writing a will when you don't have anything is a different story. I mean, sadhus and, all these people who are wandering guys, they don't have anybody. So what will they will keep? I'm talking about people, those who have money and properties and all. Better write a will just now only and keep, no? How do you know you're going to be alive? And then if you have a pot of money stored somewhere, I mean, imagine a pot of gold or money stored somewhere. You think you are there to enjoy that? One day one person asked me, I've got 2 minutes, so I'll tell you. One day one person asked me something. He asked me a question. He said, Guruji, I want to save money for my retirement. I want to do this. I have put my money in these savings and this and that. Or that. I looked at him and I said, I'm sorry. You are a servant of your children. All your money will be eaten by them. You got it? You build a house, beautiful house made of wood. And who eats it? White ants. Who stays over there? Snakes, lizards, mosquitoes. You think you own the house that you stay in, isn't it? Everybody thinks that they own the house that they stay in. Sorry, there are lots of people other than you. There are ghosts staying there. You can't see them. Okay. There are other creatures over there. There are lizards going all over the place. There may be snakes hidden. There may be mosquitoes. There may be flies. They also say, I stay in this. They can give an address, your house address. I stay in this house. How do you know? So did you get the point? Whatever you store is not yours. It will be enjoyed by somebody else. So if you store something for yourself, you are never going to enjoy it. So whatever desires you have, they are never going to get fulfilled in this life. Maybe next life you will come. Or maybe after that, how many lives? So this is the way. So one life, one day, make it the best. This is the day. Spiritual people, for them, this is the day of liberation. Why not work really hard and struggle for it, for that one day of your life? So we have come to the end of verse 14 today. Tomorrow we will do verse 15 onwards. And you have a great day today. Take care of yourself. And remember, today is the last day. Think like that. Okay. Bye. See y'all.